to another episode of the NSA Houston podcast. I'll be your host today, Megan Billnoske, as past president of the organization now. Only now, today, you get to see all about the future with our current president, Beth Rohani from NSA Houston. Typically, we honor and work with presidents in this podcast all across Houston and beyond about how we can work together. Ergo the title, Together We Rise. I think you're going to love knowing more about NSA Houston and where we're going this year. Beth, why don't you come off the mute and share a little bit about yourself with our audience here?
Thanks so much for having me, Megan. I am super excited to be here. You introduced me pretty well. My name is Beth Rohani. I am the new president for NSA Houston. In my normal day-to-day job, I am also the president and CEO of Ameritex Movers. It's a family-owned business that we've had going into 25 years. Which definitely has taught me a thing or two about running a business and being an entrepreneur. So, yeah, overall, it's exciting to be here, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to engage with you and the viewers.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think it's only appropriate that as you're kicking off the board year that just started in July, I know we had our board retreat planning all the kinds of things and strategy for the year. I think it's important our members and our audience knows what's coming. So would you mind sharing what's the focus this year and maybe the strategy that people can expect?
Okay, well, before we even get there, we need to go a little bit further back and talk about when you were president. Megan did such an amazing job for helping set the foundation for me because without leaders like Megan, it definitely wouldn't give me the ability to be able to continue the legacy that she set. And I think that was ultimately what drove me into this was seeing her passion and seeing her drive and her ability to encourage others and, get others involved. Given that this is just a leadership role that is voluntary, you don't get paid for the role. You do this because you have the servant mindset. And I saw that displayed through Megan over the couple of years that I got the chance to work with her. And when she approached me and said, what are your thoughts about becoming incoming president and, taking on this responsibility, it was like, wow, I don't want what she's built to get broken. And I believe in it so much that I wanted to keep it going because NSA Houston, it is such an amazing environment for people that are coaches, consultants, keynote speakers, authors, anyone who uses words, language to be able to have a profession. I know for me, I'm an entrepreneur and my focus in my business was primarily sales. And I had to get up in front of groups of people and give presentations and have, the ability to represent myself, my company, who I am, and what I do. And that takes guts, that takes courage, that takes practice, that takes an environment for people to help push you out of your boundaries. And that's what I saw NSA Houston had the opportunity to be. And so to now answer your question, after I said yes, once I was cornered in the break room, as what we like to call it.
That's a theme.
There is this break room theme where people tend to get cornered to say yes, but nonetheless, it is something that there's alignment, right? And I think what we've discovered this year is, throughout the years, NSA has had a transition after COVID and, the just evolving of the world and how people do things, whether things are done virtually or in person. NSA has had the opportunity to go through that evolution, and we are now back at that point where we are redefining ourselves and, who we are and what we stand for as far as an organization is concerned. And, we have an amazing board that we've put together. You, of course, being at the tail end of the helm and guiding us with all of our, practices and making sure that you've infused us with your knowledge and support. And, with me essentially being the captain of the ship and, driving it into that dream that we have. And like you said, we had that retreat where, our members came together and our board members, and we talked about what's our vision, what's our mission, what are our core values that, help drive us to where we want to go. And ultimately, our goal is to bring value. We are all aligned where we just love giving our time, love giving our energy, and we have a purpose of people. And with that, we have some amazing program ideas that are lined up for this year, some great innovation that's going into consideration with AI and using technology in order to be able to leverage every single thing that you do. Can you believe every single thing that we touch can have some form of AI tied to it to be able to help us leverage and scale? And that's the focus, is how do we automate our processes with NSA this year, set up our systems, set up our flows to where we can continue to build the legacy where it's not broken and people who do come in know exactly where to pick up off of and continue the flow without there being any type of disruption or interruption. And it doesn't take away from the member experience.
I love that direction because what you're sharing is very much what we saw on the retreat. The board is phenomenal, go-getters, high energy, and that's what we had wanted. That's what we need. We need energy to keep going. How do you see what NSA Houston is building and breathing into, build and structure the organization benefiting members? Because I know there's a lot of ties. I just want to kind of open that door because yes, NSA Houston is building and putting in structure, but members are also going to learn as well. So what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, the board members, as they're putting together the plan for 2025, 2026, is essentially what is the value that we're delivering to the members, whether it's our monthly programs, our monthly in-person programs that allow us to be able to walk away with tools and resources that help us elevate our business and our opportunity for growth. And that's the mindset, is growth. Every day we're learning, every day there's an opportunity for us to be able to expand our knowledge and expand our experience. For me, I've had 25 years of business experience. And so when I go into an environment, there's not a whole lot that I don't have a tough skin for, that, I haven't experienced, to where it's like, okay, let's go, just dump it, just dive right into it and solve the problem. But, there's these experiences that people are going through. And although I may not have, a speaker background, I do have entrepreneurial acumen. And that's what it takes to be a successful speaker, is setting it up and treating it like a business. I've seen you evolve as a member and, go through your experiences, Megan, from, getting out of corporate world and having one foot in corporate world and one foot coming into the, speaking training world, and then deciding to, hey, I'm going to go all the way in. And as I go all the way in, how do I, decide on what I want to sell? How do I want to market myself? What's my branding look like? Your favorite topic, finance and accounting.
Oh, I think you're saying Canva. I was gonna say you love me, and like, oh no, that's the opposite.
you know but those are all the elements that we have to experience and learn as successful business owners to be able to have successful careers that are generating us seven figures from different sources of revenue buckets. And how do you set that up, and how do you set it up to where it works for you on the back end in an automated fashion, between writing, workshops and books and, all these other opportunities that now our association can help teach and give support, because we are ultimately the experts when it comes to speaking in Houston. I mean, we are the National Speakers Association Houston chapter, and this is where the experts come to learn, to grow, to thrive. And again, I'll tell you, in terms of perspective, when I came into the National Speakers Association, I was like, I'm going to probably bring more to them than they're going to give to me. And I tell you, on those monthly programs, being in that room and just being a fly on the wall and doing the marketing and taking the pictures and, just hearing how people are crafting their story, it's now allowed me to be able to think deeper on like, okay, I have this story. And so how I am planning on crafting it and, what is going to be my next step? Because although I've done this for 25 years, I also have a succession plan. And so what is the next part of my chapter and my journey? And so it's really helping me indirectly be able to apply that by, building myself in a way. And I would say that as a member, the value comes from what you want to put into it, the time and the energy that you want to put into it. And so I encourage anyone to get involved and be involved. Get involved in a network that helps support you of like-minded people who are looking to row in the same direction as you. And for NSA Houston, if speaking is something that you do as your talent and your profession, then this opportunity for you is one where you're going to be infused with a lot of people that have a lot of skills in this business. One of our board members recently did a TEDx talk in Third Ward. Another one is fully focused on AI technology and automations and systems and processes. Between, all of our backgrounds, it gives a very diverse group of network that we have that we bring in. And I think that's the important part, is not just what can I do or what can you do, but what can our network do collectively in order to be able to lift each other. And I know even with some of the things that we're running, let's say, for example, we have our brand new Find a Speaker online directory. That is like the coolest thing ever, because now if you're an expert in your field, people can go onto our website and be able to search for you, be able to find you. You have a bio, you have a promo. It gives them links to be able to go see you on LinkedIn and any of your other handles that you put there with your website. So it becomes an opportunity for you to get discovered by just simply being a member of NSA Houston. Besides that, we have a platform that is a members only LinkedIn page where we do lead exchanges. Not Megan, she is a popular woman. And as she's growing, she's getting more and more popular to where, her time is limited and she can't take on all those leads. But if she knows someone in the association that teaches or talks about that particular topic, then she now has a network where she can go in and be able to build and branch out those opportunities, for those opportunities to then become others' opportunities. And so it really is just this web of people, of who you know, and how you can leverage yourself, because ultimately, we're not here just to, find friends. Of course, many do become lifetime friends, but we all, are here because we're professionals and we're wanting growth. And so I've, as a member myself, and I know that you can probably attest to this too, Megan, have just found not only a lot of professional growth, but also personal growth as a result of this experience.
Yeah, I would agree too. And the interesting thing as well for our listeners, we have leadership opportunities if you're looking to get involved, because that's exactly how we both got so much value out of it. To your point about the personal part, the things I've seen about NSA Houston as we're growing, I turned around and look at my business and I thought, well, I don't have that. Let me go build that. And then I go back to a meeting and it's, oh yeah, we do this with a CRM. Oh crap, I don't have a CRM. Let me go do this. So it's on so many levels. And being on the board last year, we made some great friends with our board since we saw each other so often. And then now as new members come in and we have guests, it's definitely helped. Even I'll say personal finances. Now I have a SEP IRA for, self-employed people. There's so many things that I didn't have that this has opened doors for, just to go learn, because I always say in workshops, you don't know what you don't know. So you have to be in a place where you can expand that to figure out, and then you get to choose once you know about it.
Absolutely. It definitely is an environment where you can not only learn about sales, you can learn about marketing, you can learn about branding, you can learn about finance and accounting and setting your business up for success legally, making sure you're protected in terms of your intellectual property. I mean, there's so many facets and so many elements that we touch on that it's not just, getting up on stage and being, a great speaker. All of us use words, and whether it's written, if you're an author, or if you're writing, workshops or programs, or you are, an actual, presenter to where you have to get up in front of people and do presentations. It's one where, you have to have all of these different elements of sales, of marketing, of finance, of, like the governance and formation. How do you even set up a business, for your beginners out there, down to, like you said, setting up a SEP IRA and, getting more detailed into strategies and tax planning. Once you're making, seven figures, you're going to want to, figure out what options are out there for you to, again, leverage yourself.
Yeah, and I can't emphasize enough about the networking part that I've seen, because how many times, Beth, have we looked for a videographer to record our sessions? Or as a speaker, you need some footage to get another job. You need footage of what you've done in a past job. So the network of who are some videographers? Who is somebody in the industry of speaking you want to talk to? Because even at our retreat, we talked about how do we include folks in corporate? Because as an ex-corporate retiree, I'm not taking PTO to go to a meeting. I'm just not going to do that. And so I see too of how we're incorporating. If you are listening and you're thinking, well, I'm not starting a business, but you want to be more of a speaker in a space that you're not in, we still have tons of networking with people to be able to help with whatever you're learning, wanting to learn about. And I know we're coming up. I know this podcast will air August 1st, and by then we'll have been back from Influence. But our NSA board, make no mistake, we're here to play. And we are, for the first time, Beth, why don't you talk about Thrive? For the first time, we had somebody go to Thrive, one of the big conferences for NSA National. And Beth and I, along with about 8 people from Houston, are going to the big Influence conference at the end of July this year. So we're investing. So what are your thoughts on either of those?
My thoughts initially are, I wonder how our light up shoes are going to feel that we're going to be
Oh, people are
wearing
gonna
to
be jealous.
influence.
Either that or Beth's
So
gonna be taking them off, hiding them under the table.
I don't know. They weren't very expensive, and so I don't know what the quality is going to be like, but I'm down for the team. We got some light up shoes that we're wearing to represent NSA at Influence. And yeah, it is something new that we both get to experience together. One thing that I've found when I have attended the national events is that it is a lot of experience in the industry that you can be exposed to. And again, take pieces and parts and bits that have worked for others and apply it to you. And really, you mentioned it, Megan, networking. I mean, for me, I have had the opportunity to meet some pretty interesting people. I mean, they have some incredible stories, incredible experiences, and just hearing, the ability of like mindset and resilience and overcoming obstacles and challenges. When you're in an environment of people who use words to influence, and inspire, and you hear these stories, you're like, wow, I thought I was like, dealing with a lot, and then you get this other perspective, and it kind of helps ground you to know that, you're not the only one going through struggles and challenges and overcoming, obstacles that you're faced with or decisions that you have to make. And I know, in corporate, you made some tough decisions, and so how do you find, like-minded people to where you can share those types of ideas and experiences with? And so I found the networking aspect of it to be very, very instrumental in helping me be able to, again, expand my knowledge bank of people that I have that I can ask questions from, and they're so free and willing and giving and open with their time that you're just kind of amazed because when you look at them practice their skills and perform their skills, you're just kind of like, wow, that's who I want to be one day. But ultimately it's like, who can be you, that is that unique version of you, and take all of these different personalities and mesh them into like being your unique character. And, a lot of them say, craft your own story, don't copy others. It's not something that you're there to do, but you're there to get inspired and influenced, and hence the name, inspire and influence. But for me, Thrive was a first time experience. And when I went there again, it was just seeing how the whole conference works. I didn't know what to expect. I saw vendors there that support NSA Houston. That was great because, some of those vendors are hopefully going to come and support and engage with our local organizations in these upcoming months that we're going to be a part of. And then alternatively, got to meet again great speakers that not only I'm familiar with, but like people that are just like there for the first time also from, we had one member that we met from Colombia who became an NSA Houston member. This is like international. It's not just, people that, again, like Megan said, 8 of us are going from Houston and just seeing local people. You're seeing people from all over the world come to this event. And so to be exposed to that type of network, I think it's just a great experience, especially for me, who's a newcomer into this. It gives me that ability to say, okay, there are other newcomers, it's okay, and how do I aspire to get to where, they are? Because if
Yeah,
they
well
can do it, I
said.
can do it.
Absolutely. That goes back to your theme. So for this year, I'm curious after our retreat, because I haven't asked you about it since then. What would you say is the theme for this year? Because I'm curious if it ties into what you just shared.
Yeah, the mindset for me has always been do it and prove it. As a business owner, I'm always faced with struggles. And even in my personal life, I've faced challenges, dealing with deaths of very personal, close people in my life, dealing with divorce. And as a first generation Iranian American, my parents, had certain standards of you don't divorce, and those were the expectations. My parents actually just celebrated 50 years together, and that was kind of the role model that I had. And to kind of go through that and not feel like a failure, and overcome just everything involved. And then being a business owner, you kind of have this mindset of like, what's next? Give it to me. I can take it. I can figure it out, And so the mindset's always been, Beth, just do it and just prove it. It's this thing where just keep going, just do it, and you're going to prove it. It's nothing that, you're going to fail by not taking that chance. If anything, it's just going to prove to you that you have the strength to keep going. You have the resilience to bounce back. You have the wisdom to be able to think. For me, I always say it's a lot harder for people to have to solve problems than to create problems. Creating problems is an emotional action, whereas solving problems, you have to have logical, mindset of thinking through and rationalizing and figuring and problem solving. And so, you know, again, in life, I think you're, dealt a certain, number of cards and a certain, way of how you play them, is important, and, how strategic you are. And you can have this mindset of poor me or, not me. And so this do it and prove it mindset is, how do you surround yourself with people who are going to be like-minded, are going to be sharing that same vision and mission and those core values. And that was something that I had to discover later on in my life in my mid 30s, which made a lot of instrumental life-changing decisions for me as a result of. And so this year, a big focus for with NSA Houston is, as board members, making sure it's the right people and the right seats. And if you know EOS, to be the right person, you have to be aligned with, NSA's core values. And that's how you lead. That's how you think when nobody's watching, who are you as that person? And so if your core values are aligned, then you're the right person. And to be in the right seat, do you get it? Do you want it? And do you have the capacity to do it? Is how we measure. And if you don't get it, but you have the capacity and you want it, then that's not the right formula. If you have the capacity, but you don't want it and you do get it, it's still not set up for success. So you have to have all three of them. And so this year, the focus again, and in my life with my business and anything that I'm doing, I'm looking at, are those individuals' core values aligned with kind of who I am as a person? And, through that, you build those relationships that flourish over time.
Well said. And I think everybody's getting a good view of what's ahead for this year. And the expectation that's being set is let's do it, improve it, be resilient. We're building a legacy, and you're going to see some amazing things coming out more and more as we get going as a board. Beth, I want to thank you for joining today. I usually like to end with a question or two. So we've got two for you. One's a little personal, and then one I'd like to open it up for any last words you'd like to share with our members and our guests listening, because we do have folks that come in from talent development, coaching, all organizations are speakers. So first question that I mentioned is, what is a secret talent or some fun fact that not a lot of people know about you, just as we're closing out today?
I would say a fun fact about me is that I won Miss Congeniality in the Miss Texas pageant when I was younger. And I did it because my parents wouldn't let me be a cheerleader. So just out of spite, I decided to get into this local pageant. I won the Miss Arlington title, which led me to compete in Miss Texas. Once I got there, Megan, I was like, I am not going to win this thing. There's no way. And I had fun with it. And I took the time to embrace the moment and the experience. And that's one thing that you told me last week about NSA. You said your year is going to come and go really, really fast, and just enjoy the experience and remember it. And that was the motto back then. And as a result, I won Miss Congeniality. So I hope, some sort of, opportunity that's memorable comes from this. And so far, it's been great.
Yeah, I was hoping you would say that because I thought, I wonder what she'll share. But that's exactly it, because
That's
I
my
think it's
go-to.
unique. Yeah. Uh, well, thanks for sharing a little personal note as well, because you've shared a lot today. For those listening, please tune in to NSA Houston. We support ATD Houston, ICF, Houston Org Development Network, and ACMP, the Change Management Group for Texas. We work together because a lot of us are in each other's meetings. So you're more than welcome to join us. Beth, as our final closeout, any last words or thoughts you'd like to share with everyone listening today?
Yes, I guess, if you really had to walk away with one thing out of this podcast that Megan does, it's networking. Building that network was instrumental in my life. And can I share one short little
Oh, yeah,
story?
go ahead. Go for it.
Awesome. So, when I started my business, I was set up on a referral program where I would go and solicit my business, and in lieu of, people referring me, I would pay them some sort of kickback. And it would go directly to, the properties, the apartment communities that I was involved with. And overnight, one of my competitors went and one-upped me. He went and said, hey, if this moving company is giving you $10, I'm going to give you $20. If they're paying you checks, I'm going to pay you cash. If they're paying you monthly, I'm going to pay you weekly. And literally overnight, my business changed. All of these people that were referring me on a reoccurring basis had stopped, to the point where I was calling them and I'm like, where are you? What happened? I haven't seen any business. And they would make excuses like, oh, well, we're just slow right now. Things. Finally, by the third week, I called one of them and I said, tell me the truth. Like, we've known each other long enough. Is there somebody else that you're using? And she said yes. And that's just kind of how I gradually found out about it. And this was back in the days of the yellow pages. Okay. Just so you understand, I'm about to celebrate
Dinosaurs?
25. Literally, okay, there was no Google or any of that, or Chat GPT. It was Yellow Pages, and we didn't have the money to advertise in the Yellow Pages. That's why my mom alphabetically named my company with an A, so we would fall in the front of the Yellow Pages without having to put an ad. But all these other companies who depended on ads, one particular one discovered our method and copied it, and it impacted our business significantly overnight. Well, there was this group, this organization called the Houston Apartment Association that I would see that, would send me information from time to time. And I decided that I was going to go and just see what it was about. I went to my very first meeting. Then I went to a second meeting. Then I went to a third meeting. And within a year and a half, I was asked to become a officer to serve on the board of directors for their product service council. That was a 6-year term commitment that I made. Through that, I built such a strong network where we are now the largest moving company in the multifamily market for Houston and Dallas. And that's again because of getting in there and getting to know the people. When I first started the business, the person that was our coach at that time said, "Oh, all you have to do is just use the logo. As long as you use the logo, they'll think that you're supporting them and they'll, use you as a result." And that logo wasn't enough. Really getting people to meet you, get to know your character, understand who you are genuinely, understand that you're going to be accountable, you're going to show up. If you make a commitment, you're going to keep your promises, you're going to really show them who you are by building those relationships. It allows them to then be able to trust you. And so networking is building trust to the point where you come in and through your experiences of showing yourself, showing that you're present and ready to learn and grow, then those opportunities just naturally come. And so I encourage everyone who's listening, who has been a part of this experience or looking for new experiences to get involved in, don't be afraid. Just come. We're actually having an open house in August. Date's going to be announced on our website, which is nsahouston.org. If you're looking to find us, the website is right here. Definitely check us out. And our social handle is NSA Houston. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Instagram, Facebook, X. And just love to be able to even give you any type of support or feedback or any questions. So our email addresses are on our website under Contact Us, and we'd love to have you just come and hang out.
Yeah, well, thank you for everything today. Great vision set to share what is NSA Houston headed towards and how to get involved and who. Thank you for your time. And to those listeners, thanks for tuning in. Please get involved. We support Houston and the greater area. We're the experts in speaking, and that's a collection of coaches, trainers, authors, comedians, educators, keynoters. We're here to stay, and we're building a legacy, and we want you to be a part of it. Thanks for tuning in. Next time, we'll have a different president on our NSA Houston podcast, all about how together we rise. Take care.